I just had this really amazing, what I call a divine self alignment coaching with a woman. And it's like a 20-minute session, but it was on conflict, and it was around her dealing with two kids, spouse, herself, school, school, new situation, online, and stress around all that working, her wanting more kind of peace and empathy and respect going on between all these parties, right? And so when we got on the call, her question was about, what do I do with that? How do I approach that? How do I deal with that? Because she's been stewing in this anger for a day and a half or so. And the school had emailed, and that also made her angry. And so I wanted to share what we talked about and what we did in that 20 minutes, because it made a profound difference, and it only took that amount of time. So first thing first was that from your place of anger, I said, well, let's remember what anger means. So you are a divine being. You have an inner being, a divine being, and you are an expression of it. So when you feel anger, what I was reminding her of, that means the way you are viewing the situation, the people, them, is out of alignment from what your divine self knows to be true about them and this situation. I said, so your work is always, when you are looking at this situation, how are you feeling? And if you are feeling negative about the situation, then I said, what that means is the way you're viewing it is no longer in alignment with the way the source of you, the divine of you, knows the situation to be. And so your job is not about what to do with them, how to fix them, what to say in the email back to the one that's making you mad. Your job right now is to get back in alignment with you. Your job is always about your relationship with you. It's about, if you're feeling anger, so if she's feeling angry, it means she is no longer in alignment with what the divine of her, her inner being, the larger part of her, the source of her, the God of her, knows what's true about all those people and that situation. And her job, her main job right now is get back in alignment with you. Get back in alignment with the human you and the divine you need to come back together, right? The way you're viewing it is off. So the journey then was about that. So we talked about, well, how do I do that? If my negative feelings are your indicator. Feelings are the way, the divine you is a vibrational place. Think of it as a radio signal. It is a true, literal, real space. The human you is also an expression of that with a vibrational space. And when the two resonate, you feel joy, you feel good, you feel the love of that, you feel the resonance of yourself in alignment with the larger part of you, with your divine self. That's what your positive feelings mean. In this situation, when she was viewing the conflict and what to do, and then the email made her mad, or even more mad, and what that means is the way she's now thinking about that same situation is not the way the divine self, and she's feeling a offness, but the offness is between the vibration of her and the vibration of her larger self, her divine self, her God self. In that very moment, there's two vibrations going on, and there's an offness. And that offness registers as a negative emotion. And our emotions are there, they're an indicator, they're letting me know in every moment, am I aligned, am I not aligned? So her first job, and that's what we talked about, is, well, you got to get in alignment. Because from your anger place, you're only going to attract more thoughts of anger. From your anger place, you're only going to try to control others. From your anger place, you're never really going to come to the right space, say the right thing, do the right thing, email the right thing. So your job is always come back to you, come back to the divine you. So how do you do that? That's what we talked about next. Once we remembered, well, what does my negative emotion mean? And what do I do about this conflict? Well, if you're angry, then you've got to get back to a better feeling place first. That's your job. So we talked about different ways to do that, meaning you could go for a walk, you could do a meditation. Those things would help you return. If you focused on the situation, you could, I call it my true self agreement. I'll set a timer for 10 minutes and I'll deliberately think about, well, what does my divine self know to be true about them and the situation and the school? And I'll reach for those thoughts. What we did in the call, what we did in 10 minutes of the call, so the first 10 minutes were remembering your job is back in alignment with you. That's your job right now. The next 10 minutes, we did a guided meditation. And what I did with her, we went into silence. I had her breathe in and out of her heart center, just focusing on her breath gently and focusing on her heart space gently as a way to get out of her analytical mind and fall back into this space and ease back into this space. And we did that for about 5 minutes, and I just had her breathe, and I kind of coached her in and out of this space and getting back to this divine kind of space and getting back into alignment. And as she did that, she could feel more ease and a little more relief. Then I just gently introduced all the people. So the two boys, her spouse, the school, the email, and we just gently brought all those into this heart space. And we didn't try to change anything, and we didn't try to do anything about it, and we didn't try to fix anything. All we did was from this divine space, we sort of enwrapped it and enveloped it and sort of envisioned just sort of loving on the people and the situation. And I use Ho'oponopono, which is 4 phrases of I love you, I'm sorry, forgive me, and thank you. And sometimes I use that as a way to help focus. And so we sort of envisioned and stayed in the heart space. We enveloped the pieces of the conflict in that space, not trying to fix anything, just trying to bring in a lower energy and surround it with a higher energy, if you will. It's kind of like warm water it dissolves the ice cube without any effort, right? It's 2 energies and they kind of take care of each other. So this higher energy can easily, its divineness, its consciousness can easily deal with this other energy. So we went in our heart space, breathed in and out, breathing deliberately for that all is well breath. Your body knows how to breathe that way. Then we introduced the people and the situation, and then we just sort of blessed it and using the phrases of I love you, I'm sorry, forgive me, and thank you. And there's an energy to those words, and so we just sort of felt the energy of that. And at the end of the 10 minutes, right, so the meditation was 10 minutes, the beginning part was 10 minutes. At the end of that, what she described was first there was a tight around her heart, like a fist, and then she felt really she could just feel an opening and just a letting go of that and a release of that, like an opening of a flower, I think was her description. And then she could just feel the ease of the energy flowing and just the different components of it, right? So that's pretty significant to just go within for 10 minutes from a day and a half of being angry to 10 minutes later you're back in alignment with yourself. So what I recommended to her was to spend more time there if she could, just keep feeling into that space more and more, because that's your true space. That's who you really are. From there, maybe you'll feel inspired to say something to the kids, to your spouse, to the school. maybe you'll feel inspired to do something. I said, sometimes though, maybe what you're going to feel inspired to do is just leave it be. And I said, sometimes that's the hardest part for us because we're so wired we need to do stuff, to fix stuff. But really from your divine space, you have so much more leverage in your life that sometimes leaving it be is really the inspired action. So I just wanted to share that. It was pretty significant. I always do a Zoom recording, so I'll send her the meditation. She'll be able to do it. But just I wanted to share it from a sense of if you're dealing with conflict and you're noticing you're angry, so like she was angry for a day and a half, your work initially is not to do anything out there. Your work is always about your relationship with you, the divine you, and the physical you, which are the same thing. And Manifest a Better Life with God, one of my books, I talk about the ocean and the wave. If you're all wrapped up in being the wave and you're forgetting you're the ocean, your job is to get back to being the ocean. Your job is to remember that. As you do that, your feelings will shift because, again, two vibrational points of view. And when they resonate, when the you here and remembers and is in line with the larger part of you that is also here at the same time, and they resonate, meaning you are truly in line with the truth of you, the wholeness of you, the divine of you, then you feel the amazingness of that. When you're focused in your life and you're gotten wrapped up in something in your life and you're noticing it in a way that is different than the very divine you can see the same thing, focus on the same thing, but you are focusing on it in a way and you start noticing the offness. It's not about out there, it's about your offness between you and you. As strange as that might sound. So your work is to come back to you. Your work is you've forgotten who you really are. And as you remember who you really are, you will feel it again. You will feel better. You will feel the relief. You will do that. So that was her job. And we did that guided meditation to do that. From there, though, she might feel inspired to do something specific. But what I know is if she doesn't return back to her, she stays in her anger. Anger is only going to attract more thoughts of anger. Anger is only going to attract more ideas of what to do with angry. Angry is not going to come up with really a divine solution or answer. So just wanted to share that in case some of that fits your current situation. Again, I'm Michael LeBlanc, author, coach, speaker, energy practitioner. Create with Consciousness is my work. Specific for her, I was doing something I call divine self-alignment coaching, which is these kind of brief 20-minute sort of dive in and align yourself back to yourself. All right, you have a great day, and I will chat with you soon.